The time has finally come for me to watch The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2 and finish off my series of reviews for the iconic Twilight Saga franchise. And what an overwrought, befuddling saga it has been. Capped off perfectly with this fourth and final chapter that leaves audiences with the conclusion that love is sick and disgusting, and that's what makes it so healthy and beautiful. We also learn that after your movie or book series has more than 2 parts, the story can just be whatever, and your characters can all beg to be killed, but young adults will remain invested thanks to their higher hormones and lower taste levels. To which Twilight author Stephanie Meyer said, "Super horny and incredibly tasteless? That was my pen name when I used to publish erotic, problematic fanfiction." Cha-ching! Like every movie in the Twilight franchise, this final installment clocks in at nearly 2 hours, and that's only if you don't die of old age while trying to say its whole title. By the time I finish the phrase The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2, Bella and Edward's newborn abomination of life will have already aged 3 months, but because of her supernatural growth rate, she'll have the body of an 8-year-old, which apparently is the perfect combination of ages for 15-year-old Jacob to fall eternally in love with. And yet, the most horrifying aspect of this character is still Taylor Lautner's performance. Fascinating. But don't worry, because Twilight 4 knows that it can't try to fourthen the 3rd Twilight book without pulling out all of the stops. So immortalize your children and get penetrated by the fangs of this high camp film with a climactic mega battle that never was, more interesting story ideas that never will be, and a haunted sarcophagus full of pre-existing plot holes that get pried open until they're fully dilated and practically gaping in the most unsatisfactory of ways. Time to take on one more toxic load of vampire venom and face off with the European accented bad guys in today's Twilight the Saga the series installment 3 book 3 movie 4 of 4 Ezekiel 3.9 installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other such content here on the web. And we break it down like the super obvious parallels between classic Shakespeare and a book written for children by a person with no natural talent. That way we can look at each individual clip and decide if it is to be or not to be, because that is Vampire City. I didn't stick the landing there, but we're gonna go ahead and finish the video if that's cool. Oh, but before we do, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. That lets me know that you want to see even more clip breakdowns on young adult series like this. I don't even know where to go next. It feels like an ocean of blue water. We could do Divergent, we could do Hunger Games, we could do, that's all I feel like explaining as examples, you tell me. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, or if you've been watching for a while and just holding out on me, make sure you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, more or less or roughly or so. So hit your notification bell and that way you'll always be the first to know. Also merch, also Patreon. Some of you who have been following along with this series may know that I've been working to improve my Spanish speaking skills beyond the basic terms such as where the hell have you been, loca? And I gotta tell you, now that we're coming towards the end of spring and entering summer, I am redoubling my efforts because the summer is a great time to reinvent yourself. And the reinvention could not be simpler thanks to the sponsor of today's video, BABBEL. BABBEL is one of the top language learning apps in the world with intuitive lessons that allow me to learn a new language using real-life conversations, loca. Aside from travel and communicating with the people in your immediate community, I find that learning a new language is just an awesome way to challenge myself. Have you ever known how much fun it is to watch Peppa the Pig in Spanish? A new dimension to the storytelling.
George es el araña, no es un muñeco.
BABBEL is scientifically proven to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks, with lessons that are designed by real teachers, not AI or just some basic quiz, plus a 20-day money-back guarantee. I love learning the language through real-life conversations. Talk to people about travel, business, relationships, and way more. Here's a little refresher. Hola, señor araña. Hello, Mr. Spider. I used that one during Peppa the Pig. Me amo, señor araña. My name is Mr. Spider. I'm changing my name to Mr. Spider. ¿Dónde está el baño? because I never know. It's always in the back behind a corner. I don't like getting lost and accidentally ending up in the kitchen. La cucina. Me trae la cuenta. Can I have the check, please? Because I just got kicked out for entering the kitchen. I love learning Spanish with Babbel, and I know you'll enjoy learning a new language using Babbel as well. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get 60% off of your subscription. Also, let me know in the comments what language you would most like to learn. Muchas gracias a Babbel once again for sponsoring today's video and keeping my brain sharp for the summer. Sharp for the summer. We gotta get into this story because I don't know if you know, but we were left on a cliffhanger close-up of 2 eyeballs in the last film where basically Bella was dying, or technically did die during childbirth of her daughter Renesmee. Luckily, after Edward chewed open her birth canal to free the baby, he also fanged Bella like several times to inject her with his venom, something I uncovered in my research for this video. According to the books, vampires in the Twilight universe only have one bodily fluid, and it's their blood. Their blood is their saliva, their blood is their semen, their blood is their vaginal secretions. I don't know why I'm saying all these things on YouTube, but that's what it is. Have you ever had someone ejaculate blood into your vaginal secretions, which are also blood? You haven't. Please tell me you haven't. It doesn't matter. What was I talking about? Edward saved Bella's, not life, because he made her immortal, which is like, no, you don't need life for life. And so she opened her eyes, they're blood red, she's a vampire. And that's basically where the movie begins. This is the first one out of the whole series that begins with a full credit sequence. The other films notably started just right in with Bella's stupid voiceover. I don't know that she even has, yeah, this movie doesn't even have voiceover right off the bat. It begins with her eyes changing red, and then she's looking around the room with spidey senses. She's like, I see that there's a book with dust on it. And then there's like some indie rock vocalist in the background. We don't care for all of that original soundtrack score. But then we see Edward's hand, and it has a wedding ring, and Bella comes to her senses, all done up, fresh from the salon, and ready to forcefully grab at her husband. It takes, as you can imagine, a minute for Bella to become accustomed to her new post-mortal, like, vampire body.
You're a lot stronger than I am right now. It's your turn not to break me.
Did she just vampire punch him with her pussy? Now, if that's not a great example of character development, then the Twilight franchise doesn't have any great examples of character development. And that's it. That's the second one. Good night. Say goodbye to the Bella Swan of the first movie. She was pale, frail, and stinking up the science class. But it's time to meet Vampirina Ballerina. Now, she's Halloween pale, A-list actress frail, and she has enough superhuman strength to de-shingle a farmhouse with a single queef. You can tell because Breaking Dawn Part 2 is the movie where they have to remind us that almost every character is now a vampire by speed ramping their vampiric actions on screen with a motion blur, or accentuating any instance of aggressive bodily contact with a sound effect that sounds like a bowling ball hitting the ground after falling out of my ass. Side note, I've gotten really into bowling this week, and vice versa. There's even a point in this masterpiece where Bella randomly enters hyperspeed just to move 3 feet across the room and take a book off of the shelf. Like, sweetie, you just broke the sound barrier to read a play by Shakespeare. That's nerd behavior, and you should really try out for the field hockey team instead. We could use a girl like you. Oh, fast, strong. Did I say I was into field hockey or bowling? Something went up my ass. That's all I can really say. Obviously, Bella is interested at first in seeing Renesmee, her newborn daughter, who she's told is healthy and well and being taken care of by Jasper. But Edward's like, hold on, I tell you what the to do, and you really need to get your thirst under control. And Bella's like, okay, yeah, cool, the baby. And that's when Bella and Edward go on their first hike. Not hike, hunt. Who cares? Sometimes I feel like we should all try to live our lives like Vampire Bella. Like, what's stopping you from running through the forest really fast for no reason? Why aren't you using your red, bloodshot eyes to observe the stock footage of a very wet spider? Not one thought in her head, not one post-high school career plan, just vibes. She's never seemed happier. Does it look like Bella's out there wondering why her vampire vision comes with optical zoom? Or how her extreme scampering could possibly allow her to watch flowers bloom in time lapse, when if anything, fast-moving things should appear slower. No, she's not. She doesn't care. Like, shut up. Maybe vampires are just inherently good at nature photography or something. I don't know. Bella became a vampire for 2 reasons: to suck blood and suck not decode Einstein's theory of relativity. Because she's a freshie, a new vampire, she doesn't have great control over her thirst for blood. We saw this in the first movie and second movie with Jasper, who was also struggling with an intense craving for humanity bloody. However, Jasper was basically an unhinged, uncontrollable monster at like the single drop of blood from Bella's paper cut. But Bella here sniffs a guy who scrapes his knee while rock climbing, and right off the bat I'm like, is that guy gonna be a thing? Nope. She just runs over to him and Edward is like, we gotta get out of here. You're smelling a knee scab. That's when she smells a deer, or hears a deer, and that deer is about to be hunted by a mountain lion. But Bella goes over there, leaps through the air, and mouth slams, not mouth slams, but she mouth slams that mountain lion in the neck, getting her first blood kill, which led me to believe like the Cullens all teach themselves to be quote unquote vegetarians, which means they don't drink human blood, but they seem to not have to train themselves to do that. She just went ahead and drank the animal blood instead. I wish that with all of the bullshit in Stephenie Meyer's made up vampire lore, she let us know that there was some sort of weakness to drinking animal blood, or perhaps a benefit that comes from drinking human blood, like perhaps they get to live longer, or if you drink animal blood you show some signs of aging or deterioration. But no, that's not one of the plot holes that we're gonna see filled in this time or ever, because after she drank an entire lion, Bella and Edward move out of the forest and come face to face with the third point of this love triangle, which, good news, it's over. If you don't remember where we left off with Jacob Black, he imprinted on Bella's newborn daughter like as soon as she slid out like a slug. If you're not familiar with the concept of imprinting from the Twilight universe, it's basically that thing where your friend gets pregnant and then you fall passionately in love with their unborn baby. What? I didn't say it was a good or comfortable sounding thing. That's just where we're at with Jacob's whole arc.
Really look great together. Wanna come meet our daughter?
Jacob's like, meet your daughter? I already wanna f her. Let's go. She's the object of my lifelong obsession, and she has no teeth. So normal, so healthy. Again, Bella seems to be easily distracted from the, like, holding her baby for the first time, especially for somebody who just died during childbirth. And then when she woke up as a new member of the undead, she was like, you know what, you're right. I just, like, have to run through the woods in a straight line, kill a wild mountain lion with my mouth, and then resolve my teenage love triangle. Oh, and then we should check out that newborn interspecies creature that you used your teeth to chew out of my uterus. If there's time. I know it's a packed day. Like, girl, you were playing telepathic patty cake with that baby when it was a fetus, well before Edward decided to perform a C-section like it was a pie eating contest. You should have insisted seeing the baby was the first thing you do. Also, Mama was drinking blood out of a styrofoam cup in the last movie, and Edward's like, you gotta hunt through the woods now. I'd be like, just give me a fucking cup of blood and let me see my baby. And maybe, no matter how hard she begged, they wouldn't have let her see the child, because frankly, you can't view this baby until after it finishes rendering. Otherwise, it'll look like this.
What was that?
Showed you the first memory she has of you.
Showed me how.
How do I hear thoughts? How does Alice see the future?
How does the Count from Sesame Street never run out of numbers to teach us? Like, we literally don't know. The author didn't put a whole lot of thought into this source material. Some things are just the way that they are. Another strangely cinematic flashback that's inexplicably from the camera's point of view in a previous portion of the series. After Bella has lived through most of these movies, those visions should be the least questionable thing about the baby that she's holding. I would be like, oh, why does it look like someone took the Snapchat filter that makes you look like a baby and applied it to the face of an already baby? I, for one, demand to see the Chuck Esme cut of this scene, which includes Chuck Esme, the scrapped animatronic baby that I have a hard time believing ever truly existed. I have a real soft spot for Chuck Esme because she brought me my first taste of statistically significant TikTok engagement, and through those comments ultimately inspired me to get started on breaking down the franchise of Twilight. I'll let that TikTok explain Chuck Esme to your face. I just learned that the origin of this image is from the Twilight movies. It's an animatronic called Chuck Esme.
Look at that thing.
Come on, no one was gonna believe that's the baby of Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart. An animatronic baby, nicknamed Chuck Esme, with its cold, lifeless stare, was what they were originally using for the baby.
And the second you're holding up, you realize, like, this is never gonna work. Like, no fake thing is ever gonna do the trick.
How come both the animatronics department and the visual effects department were asked to create a realistic looking baby, but without using any reference photos of an actual baby? They were like, okay, well, just going off of memory, we know that babies are small, they usually have eyeballs, and doesn't their skin always look a little damp? We just gotta fill in the rest of the blanks. There's a skeptical part of me that does not believe Chuck Esme, named for looking kind of like Chucky, was ever intended to actually be in a finished cut of the film. Like, the hair alone looks like a creature from the Black Lagoon. Like, there is no way this would have even made it into, like, screen tests, or like it wouldn't have passed director approval to even be brought to the set. But perhaps it was like a stand-in baby that was used so the actors could interact with a puppet and have something weighted in their arms, and then the raw footage was sort of used in this clever marketing ploy to make a viral moment happen. People love deleted scenes or things that don't look good on camera. That's why they love me. And there's a part of me that feels like they're even just CGIing baby, the animatronic baby, over the doll. Normally they would make that doll like way smaller and streamlined so they don't have to paint over that huge hair, but I don't know. It just seems like a joke to me. So that's not saying much though. The whole movie is a little jokey, hokey pokey. That's when and one of the sisters, not Alice, but the other one, is always negative. I don't like, but I love the actress, Nikki Reed from 13. She's like, Jacob, tell her your sick, disgusting secret. And Jacob is like, okay, Belle, remember how I told you that werewolves, we imprint on people and it helps us find the person we want to mate with for life? Well, I saw your baby's face recently. He's like, I had no control over it. And Bella grabs him by the neck, throws him outside, and is about to go to Pound Town on this baby-loving boy. Gonna tread carefully here. But this is the problematic plot line that Stephenie Meyer served us and was unwilling to change for the movie. She could have used the movie to offer further explanation on some of these weird points, but nope, it's worse.
Do you remember how much you wanted to be around me 3 days ago? From the beginning, it was Nessie who wanted me there.
Nessie? You nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster?
Well, yeah, but let's go back to that part where he claimed to be the soulmate of your infant daughter since before she was a barely developed brainstem inside of you. Try and stay mad about the right things here, sweetheart. I don't know that this is a compliment to the directing style of Bill Condon, but this here is one of several moments and line deliveries that the audience still seems unable to determine whether it was meant to be a joke, because as Kristen Stewart does, it was played completely seriously and the musical score supports a completely serious tone. Yet it's like made to be memed, that line. I think it's one of those horrible lines from the original book that Stephenie Meyer wrote and fans loved talking about on message boards, so they knew they had to include it, and Kristen Stewart, being a really talented actress, had to try and make it feel real for herself. But to me, it just seems like you're more mad about the nickname than you are about the troubling feelings of attraction between your baby who can't talk and the boy who bit her. However, after a brief scuffle in which Bella feels bad for accidentally hurting young wolf named Seth, as well as, Jacob, suddenly it's Bella's birthday, which, being the cool girl that she is, she points out is null because she stopped aging 3 days earlier, but still, Alice gifts her with a skeleton key that unlocks the new cottage that they have somehow procured for Bella, Edward, and their growing family of mutants. And like this cottage is complete with a full wardrobe for Bella, with decorations and objects. I would be like, what is going on with my life where I'm just like completely transportable from location to location and I always have everything I need? They don't know what brand of tampons I use. What am I gonna do? This is the woods. But anyway, they love it. And we see a cool montage. Oh wait, no, they have sex. There's a longer love scene in this movie than in the others. I don't care for that. After wildly intercoursing one another, Bella and Edward visit the old Cullen home where Bella is saddened when the phone rings and it's her dad calling frantically twice a day trying to find out the health status of his 9-month pregnant daughter, who last he saw was like in Rio de Janeiro, or Rio, and that's the full sentence of the country. I don't know. Point is, Jasper's like, oh yeah, he's really worried about you. He calls twice a day. I'd be like, I would be driving over there like he did in the last movie, but okay, twice a day. Don't blow your anytime minutes on me. And Jasper's like, I'm actually gonna have to pick up now and tell him that you didn't make it. And the Cullens are like, oh, I'm gonna miss it here, because basically most people think that Bella is dead right now. We don't see that. We don't see Anna Kendrick's character or any of the high school friends. That's a wrap for them, but apparently they all think she's dead somehow because she's been missing since she went on a honeymoon with her new husband. Seems like they should probably be looking for that husband as well, but not the case. Anyway, Jacob is frantic because he does not want the Cullen family to leave, especially since he's got to spend the rest of his life with the girl child, with the child bride of his life. So he drives out to see Charlie, Bella's dad. He tells Charlie that, okay, Bella is fine, but she's getting better, but in order to get better, she had to change. And before Charlie runs off to see Bella, which again, he could have done before hearing that she was alive, Jacob's like, she had to change. And he's like, how do you mean change? And he's like, this will explain everything.
What the hell are you doing?
You don't live in the world you think you do.
Jacob, put your clothes on.
No, Charlie, how about you take your dick out? This happens to be one of Forks Washington's only clothing optional clearings, and Jacob has every right to unleash his wolf titties and let them absorb the UV rays in front of you. Why do you even care, Officer Swan? Are you even a cop anymore? Because if so, I still need you to shut up, get into full uniform except for the pants, and meet us back in these woods to let Jacob see whether you shave your balls or not. Oh please, I'm not allowed to say that just because it's up? Whatever. Charlie can't arrest me for saying up stuff. Not in the clearing. And that's when Jacob somehow decides the best course of action is to transform into a werewolf in front of Charlie. And that's the end of that scene, despite there being a lot of questions about how the rest of that conversation would have gone, because he tells Edward and Bella, who are furious, being like, the Volturi will kill anyone who knows about us. He's like, I didn't tell them about you. I just told them that I'm a dog and that you've somehow changed. And I'd be like, that's still a lot of info, sweetie. And when Charlie comes into the room, he's talking to Bella, being like, you don't turn into an animal too, do you? And she's like, no, I'm permanently a monster. No, she doesn't say anything. In fact, she insists on keeping Dad in the dark, who hates it, but you know, his little girl's growing up and he just has to accept that she's fine. He's like, my daughter looks like my daughter, but not. And it's like, she had a baby. Our bodies change a little bit after we have babies, okay, Officer Chunky? Anyway, he finally lays off. He's like, fine, I guess I can accept that werewolves exist and that you are somehow involved with it and went missing and are going to go missing again, and I won't tell your mom any of this. Which is a great news, because it's time for Bella to start getting accustomed to her vampire lifestyle via fun montages of day camp game type things. Whoa, this scene is so relevant. The 2-hour runtime seems more than justified. Did you see how Bella that rock smash? You seein'? The crumble rock smash because girl's so strong. Damn it, there goes my speech cognition. I knew this franchise would eventually have a negative impact on my IQ. For those who don't know, IQ stands for instant coffee. Okay, now back to this arm fight between Emo and Swanee. God. Bella loves that she can run fast, sparkle in the sun, and see spiders from afar. But they really love parenthood, hanging out in their cottage. They even get a thank you note from the Volturi being like, can't wait to meet the new Bella. Because if you don't remember, the Volturi were pressuring the Cullens to turn Bella into a vampire because she had fallen in love with Edward. They were like, that's okay if you bite her neck. So Bella's like, we don't even have enemies anymore, just time, because our daughter is rapidly aging, so she'll be an old dead by the time we have her first birthday. And it's like, it's a lot to take on in a 30-second musical montage, but let's try.
It seemed we had only one enemy left. Time. Renesmee was growing too fast.
Yeah, only a month old and she's already in an adult-sized wig cap. It must be costing a fortune. Also, when Bella's dad sees Renesmee just a little later on, he's like, she's grown another 7.5 inches in a few weeks. Yes, and she's also seemingly aged 9 years in the same amount of time it takes most infants to have a hardened skull. While all of the sad children, representing Renesmee's rapid growth, look as though they've been fully neglected by their stage parents in the uncanny valley, finale, it's that first baby in this babyhood prison mugshot montage who sticks with me the most. What is with this copy and paste Polaroid photo that they've laid over the body of a different baby who I assume already had a pretty realistic looking face without the use of special effects? The IMDb trivia page for this movie said that the production used 11 babies and children to represent young Renesmee throughout the movie, but I didn't realize that meant they had digitally melted several of their faces together and then Frankensteined on the limbs, torso, and hair of the remainder. Couldn't they have just had real kids stand against that wall? Why did they do CGI hair and faces and I assume souls, because they don't seem real to me? However, Renesmee is a special child with huge hair. Jumping up in the sky to catch a snowflake, like, charming. But a blonde vampire sees this and basically tattles. She tells the Volturi back in Italy, led by Michael Sheen, Dakota Fanning's in there. She's like, they have an immortal child, which is what they call it when a child is turned into a vampire, or I guess born a vampire, because they're so young that they have no ability to conceal their vampire identity or control their thirst for blood. So like this little baby boy in the flashback to the olden days that we always have, I think it's her brother, is used as the example of like this baby killed a whole human village, its mouth is bloody, looks like it has been eating shit, but nope. So the mom has to be killed for hiding the baby, and the baby doesn't do much better.
Traditions, friends, even families lost.
Damn, Dakota Fanning was really doing the most to prevent other child actors from reaching an age where they would be her competition for speaking roles. That Fanning family is not around with Hollywood. A few years ago, we found Dakota and her little sister Elle both simultaneously seconds away from drowning each other in the bathtub. So anyway, thrown into the fire is what we have on the docket for little Renez, but something's up because Alice and Jasper, Alice can see the future, are gone. And they leave a note saying like, gather as many witnesses as you can before the snow sticks to the ground. That's when they'll come. And that's the only clue Alice gives. So she's like, basically something bad, so bad is gonna happen that we had to get out of here. So the Cullens, knowing that, the Volturi are probs gonna kill us, we have to gather other vampires from around the world, our quote unquote relatives. And I'm like, oh yeah, they were in the first movie, the Russian chicks who are from Alaska, non-indigenous Alaskans. And they're like, oh no, not my niece or nephew who I want to burn alive.
Getting out of here. This is a crime!
Wow, they really stepped up the fight choreography for this installment of the series. There's a total of like 8 more firm hand-to-shoulder touches, and still a fair number of cable-assisted body slams by stunt performers wearing supportive boots. As we saw, Renesmee, when she touches your face, her gift is that she shows you stuff. She shows you what's in her mind, I think, is the thing. That has to be it. She can prove whatever she wants, because she's like, it's true. You know my heart. I'm not gonna eat ya. I'm not gonna eat ya. She also doesn't talk a lot, and I'm like, okay, she can't be that gifted. Just kidding. You don't have to talk to be gifted, obviously. You do have to exfoliate though. Something that we find out when we meet like the Middle Eastern vampires, who one of them is played by Rami Malek. Wow, did you see that? Her hands were absolutely caked with dead skin cells. Way too much for a child. That wizard vampire is gonna talk to Bella at lunch like, I've done that trick hundreds of times, but that was by far the most disgusting. Your kid went down a whole glove size. Anyway, his power is that he can control the 4 elements, and I'm like, oh cool, I hope that comes into play as a crucial plot point at any other time during the movie. It doesn't, not that I can recall. We meet some other international Edwards, like the Irish people with red beards and pale faces, and now some from an even more, shall we say, exotic locale.
Who are they?
I think they're this Twilight movie's insensitive portrayal of an indigenous culture, which are contractually obligated by author Stephanie Meyer. But that's just a guess based on these characters' primitive shrieks, inaccurate costumes, and the fact that they entered the scene swinging from tree vines like Tarzan. It's gotta be the racism. Again, Bella, use context clues. This is not your first movie. She should really be more intuitive about these things at this point in time. Anyway, Renesmee, sweetie, go say Jumbo to the nice ladies. Try and figure out if they communicate in perfect English but with an accent or some clicky tongue language from the jungle. Who knows? Like, okay, we got through all 4 movies without ever once seeming sensitive to anyone outside of white Anglo-Saxon culture, which the Cullens seem to both exemplify and glorify nonstop. These Amazonian ladies can make you see whatever. Like, they make Edward see that he's in a jungle, and he's like, it feels so real. And Bella's like, I don't see it. That's because Bella's new vampire gift is a shield. She's protected from other powers, which we already knew because in the first movie, none of the Edward's thought reading worked on her, and the other vampires were like, I can't figure her out. Anyway, then we have some, I think they're like Greek vampires who come out, and they really don't like the Volturi, because you know how Greeks and Italians have this supernatural immortal blood feud. They're like, oh, we've got to learn to fight the Volturi. So they start forming this ragtag group. Some of these foreign witnesses are like, wait, now you want us to fight the Volturi if they try to kill Renesmee? Because they point out, they're like, look, Renesmee has blood in her cheek. We only have no blood and ivory foundation to speak of. And so Volturi are gonna kill her when she's actually pretty special because she doesn't need to drink blood. We also have given her like Mott's applesauce and she did okay. So they're like, we have to explain it to the Volturi. Hopefully they won't want to fight us and kill us, but if they do, will you help?
We will fight. We will stand with you. So will we.
Way to go, Edward. That bland, unimpassioned speech that you muttered unified everyone. The Amazonian Prime vampires, the Irish Springs Lucky Charms vampires, even the 3 featured extra vampires who never say anything, but just help fill in the gaps for wide shots. Personally, I would want to play one of the stereotypically gay Fire Island vampires. Yes, Eddie, I'm ready to slay all day. I'm gonna stick a big wooden stake through their hearts, which for some vampires is located in their asshole. Anyway, Edward said that I got to stand next to him for the big battle because I'm like the coolest gay guy he knows. We're gonna be best friends when we face off with those bad guy whoever's, the Italiano Reggianos and whatnot. Oh, Bella and Edward go to London town where they meet a very rapscallion young... Oh, by the way, all these vampires from around the world are not vegetarians. They're like killing and murdering people, which is a conflict for some of the good guys, but they're like, hey, they might be killing a few people here and there, but like at least none of them are my baby, you know what I mean? Even though they were all high and mighty about not being killers in the past, although this is the skin of a killer, Bella, so I don't know what to feel. The Volturi is hot on their trail though. They're killing witnesses before they're able to join the fight, and one of the Alaskan ladies is like, Bella, do you know how to project your power? Because you can project your shield onto other people. It's like, wow, all these new important things about vampires that are just being mentioned today for the first time. So Bella does training to like push her powers onto Edward and protect her from the icy powers of that Alaskan winter woman. And later on, Bella's worried about this whole battle and not sure where they're even supposed to meet these bad guys, but that's when, she's also worried about the safety of her daughter during this battle because they was like, where do we put her? And that's when she looks at the back of the page that the note Alice left and sees that it's from the Merchants of Venice. And when she zooms over there, she gets the name of a person in Seattle. So Bella and Jacob drive with Renesmee out to Seattle to meet this gentleman. And they have a fun time along the way. Even though Jacob is obviously not down with these human murdering vampires having a family reunion in his friend's living room.
I know. They're the good guys. But come on, Dracula 1 and 2 are... creepy.
I bet the director was like, we gotta move on. The editors have to see if they can cobble together a natural performance from takes 14 to 79. And let's get some rewrites for the rest of the script so that this is the last scene where Jacob appears as anything other than a cartoon dog, which makes this a wrap on Taylor Lautner. Great work. You're done for this movie and possibly for every movie ever. Jacob's poor acting. It's like, girl, this is what happens when you start working as a child, like Shark Boy and Lava Girl child age, and then no one puts you in acting lessons until it's too late. I'm just kidding. I don't know that that's what happened to him, but sweetheart, something's not clicking over there. Uta Hagen said, you can't read this book. Now, Bella meets that guy who Alice and Jasper had engaged to create fake identities for both Jacob and Renesmee, which is basically being like, you know, you're gonna die in this battle, most likely, so they're gonna be able to like take care of each other for the rest of their lives in this Lolita-esque fantasy that you don't even want to think about. Then it's the day before battle, which also happens to be Christmas, and Charlie is like, oh my god, I love my 20-year-old, 3-month-old baby granddaughter. I'm not gonna read into it too much. And then he's like, oh, you got me a fishing trip? I'm not even gonna think about that being suspicious. Bye.
It's a 5-day fishing trip to Fraser River.
You leave tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I can't leave tomorrow.
I made arrangements for you at work.
You didn't have any more paid time off, so I just told them that you're seeking treatment for your alcohol abuse. It's crazy how relieved everybody at your office seemed. Apparently you've been ranting about how all of the Indian reservations are secretly run by dog people. Anyway, here's your Christmas morning tall boy, honey. I'll make sure to light some incense later when it's time for your wheat lager gas attack. There's like 16 times where people get jewelry or put on a bracelet in this movie. It shouldn't come up that often because it doesn't mean shit. Like, Jacob gives Renesmee a bracelet, and then Bella gives Renesmee a locket. It's like, okay, she's got enough jewelry. She's iced out. That weird frat bro vampire comes up with a Flava Flav clock. Are you guys trying to sink her into the river? I ask you. Anyway, we have this cute little scene where all of the vampires talk about the past wars that they participated in because they've been alive for long history times. Literally garbage and bullshit that doesn't matter. Anyway, we finally get to that field that they all somehow know to show up at, and they face off wolves and good vampires against the Volturi, who are also good vampires. They just think they're being helpful because this child should be a murderous machine. That being said, when they see the child that they claimed is not just an immortal child, and they see how she's aged so far past babyhood, they can hardly believe it. And as you can tell from this performance, when they can't believe something, they make it really clear. Oh, sorry, little girl. For Christmas, the rest of the Volturi got me one of those Bluetooth-operated vibrators from TikTok, and someone back there is messing with me. I'm gonna kill you guys. Griselda, is that you? We're not even supposed to have our phones at work. Ugh. Anyway, we're gonna rip your head off and burn you alive. Just a sec, right after we kill your parents in front of you. Ooh, pretty hair clips. Did Santa bring you those? By the way, this imprinting thing between Jacob and Renesmee makes no sense, because Jacob even said the fact that werewolves imprint is so that they can always find their best mate to help like keep the pack going. And he imprinted on someone from a completely different species that he's been raised to hate, you know, eternally. So the evolutionary train ain't ticking along the track quite right with that one, calls into question the whole thing to me. Anyway, Renesmee touches the Michael Sheen's face. He's able to see, we don't see what he sees, but like it's convincing, and he's like, wow, she really is that but we're gonna go and kill her anyway, since we don't like not knowing what's going on right here. We've never seen this type of thing, and for us it's just better if we murder the child. That's when that blonde Alaskan lady who told on Renesmee shows up, and she's like, I take it back, like they're clearly a child that grows. I made a mistake, the Cullens have been handling this. And they're like, you're really bothering us. So they rip her head off and light her on fire, and it's like, okay, let's get it rolling, let's get it popping. If that's how it's going to be in this CGI field, we're gonna be ripping heads off of each other. There's a lot of conversation in this. I'm like, is this the climax? And then all of a sudden, Edward and Jasper come walking out of the woods, and literally, this is the only time anyone in the Cullen family has ever walked normal speed, when they have 2 football field lengths of ice to pass through. Like, anyway, they show up, and Alice shows up, touches the main Volturi guy, and is like showing him a vision of the future. And she's like, it doesn't matter what I show you, this is our battle. And then something happens where Jasper goes to like protect Renesmee, and Michael Sheen's character rips off his head, and they're all like, and that's when they start to battle. Like, this is the Battle of Hogwarts, but it's vampires and it's like on a lake. Anyway, you see like certain main characters getting murdered, like, I don't know, random guy. Oh, like we see, I don't know who that is. Some guy jump and get killed, ripped apart by wolves. Dakota Fanning is using her pain powers to harm a dog. Ugh, this movie is really overestimating my ability to understand which character died based solely on the color of dog that I just saw get strangled. Would it kill them to add some CGI collars with easy to read name tags on a few of these at least the important ones. Like, what, am I supposed to jump through the screen and scan their microchips? That's no way to figure this out. Like, I don't know which werewolf that was, but I'm glad he's dead, and I hope it was one of the children. How about that? At first, this is horrific because we're seeing a lot of the Cullen family get killed. People falling into craters. I don't know why there's like molten lava when the ground opens up. Like, did they open a portal to hell? I don't know. But the mom and the mom are killed. It looks really bad. And then all of a sudden, the tides start to turn. The Cullens start getting a handle on the whole battle. You know, Dakota Fanning is ruthlessly attacked. You see her hand being like, ah! They try to be really kind of PG-13 in a hard way. Like, the wolf drops a severed hand, but, you know, vampires don't bleed, so it's more like a crunching rock sound effect. And then, finally, the leader of the Volturi gets kind of cornered by Edward, and Bella comes and yanks his head off, and the screen is engulfed by fire, and then, whoosh, I just had a vision kind of style zoom out happens, because Michael Sheen's character just had a vision.
Now you know. That's your future, unless you decide on another course.
The main purpose of Alice's character is to let the audience know that we all have the power of choice, which she reminds us not only by saying it all the time, but also through her inconsistent wig styles from movie to movie. Seems like before they shot any of these, the producers were like, we know her hair is supposed to be short and spiky and red. The question is, how short and spiky and red? Where does Breaking Dawn Part 2 Alice fall on the spectrum? I'm thinking she's somewhere in between Dark Tinkerbell and the mom from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. So you heard it here first. That whole battle was actually a vision that Alice transmitted into the Volturi's mind to be like, your choice, bro. You can either choose to start this fight that I see you losing, even though she's also said that her visions can be changed by very simple things. But either way, the fearsome Volturi, who literally have been ripping heads and breaking beds this whole movie, are like, yoink. And the leader is like, we gotta get out of here, gang. They mean business. But they're like, but the girl child, to the immortal child, we don't know. There's no precedent for this lady. We hate her. You know what I'm saying? But that's when Alice is like, oh, native. And two people come out of the woods. They're not from Amazon like the other indigenously dressed people. They're from, like, I don't know, Brazil or something, South America, not clear. But they've got this young gentleman who's like, oh, I'm the same thing as Renesmee. My mom died giving birth to me, but I made her immortal as a baby. And then I grew up to be 17, and that's when I stopped growing. And we're supposed to infer that that's what's gonna happen to Renesmee. And it's like, I think that was Stephenie Meyer's attempt to make it okay that her and Jacob were gonna be together forever. Jacob is 15. She's gonna stop aging at sexual maturity. Jacob, by the way, only ages if he stops transfiguring often into a wolf. I know, it's really bad storytelling. You know, the other Volturi are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So this unique thing that's never happened before is actually at least a little not unique, and a little bit has happened before. What do you do? What do you eat? How do you grow up? What's your sister like?
And your diet? Blood? Human food? I can survive on either.
Okay, so just do human food then. The Technically, I could survive on blood or human food too, but I don't like murdering animals and drinking them. And I can't keep a human blood concubine in this condo because I don't have a fenced-in yard. By the way, I love the idea of someone saying human food when asked about their diet. I'm a talker, so I would have been like blood, cheeseburgers, hamburgers, waffles, potato skins, Laffy Taffy, blood. If I didn't already say that, I think I said it. Blood. So that's when Michael Sheen is like, okay, I guess we, the all-powerful, knowing presidents of the Vampire Association, we're wrong on this one. We're gonna apologize, guys. Keep an eye out in the mail for a Harry and David's box of fresh pears. We will fill them with human blood. Love you all. Gotta go. Okay, let me just give you a quick recap of the anticlimax we just saw unfold. The bad vampires, who were actually good vampires who thought Renesmee was going to be a killing machine that threatened the world, met up with the good vampires who knew she was actually the first vampire-human hybrid and completely safe to have as a pet. They wanted to convince the Volturi without starting a fight, which they did. All because Alice showed a vision of carnage to Johnny Hair Extensions and his unpainted ears, and after he saw how bloody and bloodless that battle would be, he was about to call things off until he decided, wait, no, we should still try and kill the child. And then some random other human vampire hybrids that, again, our all-knowing Volturi somehow missed, walks barefoot through the snow with his much younger mom to provide exposition about how Renesmee will be able to grow up with the choice between killing wild coyotes or heating up tater tots when it's time for dinner. Oh, and then the Volturi, our fearsome competitors, were like, oh wait, we're sorry, goodbye, gotta go. And then they were like, we won this battle against the Volturi, but something tells me they'll be back. Oh wait, this is the last movie, right? They're gone for good, that was their last thing. They really just kind of ran away without an actual physical conflict? Come on guys, can at least one of you strangle one of our wolves just to add some grit? This place sucks. Now, the producers wanted to make the fight with the Volturi a real thing that happened because it adds a lot of impact to the movie for many of the Cullens to die in this battle. I agree with that. But obviously, Stephenie Meyer, the creative genius who had a really good entertainment lawyer, had the power to veto that idea and said, no, we're gonna stick with my book's ending, the inferior one, which even if you were going to go with that ending, they could have added more tension after the vision ends and they're about there to like kind of grab Renesmee anyway. They should be like holding that little girl over the fire by her human hair wig, about to drop her in like that little boy. Then the human food hybrid teenager should have been an active part of the story. Like, why didn't we have a subplot where we saw what he was doing and it was mysterious and who is that? Or like we see Alice and Jasper traveling the world to find him and then they get there just in time to rescue Nessie McBessie. Like, it's basic storytelling, everyone. Why was the ending we got just a phoned in conversation in a field of snow like we've seen countless times before in the series? It doesn't matter. Some of the vampires, like from like the British guy and the Alaskan girl, fall in love. They're like, we have a thing going on now. It's like, boo! The movie series is over, why do I care? Also, it sucks knowing that the most interesting part of Nessie's life is the stuff that we don't ever see. She grows up like this. Her new thing is this. Like, that should have been the whole book, is like how different her life is. Keep her a secret until she's 16, then make it appropriate for Jacob to fall in love with her. But no, we get stuff like this.
She's gonna be around for a long time, isn't she?
A very long time. I'm glad she has you.
So should I start calling you Dad?
I mean, if you're cool with drawing attention to the fact that you have romantic interest in a person who was born 3.5 months ago, yeah, but she already has the body of a 9-year-old. That's the worst defense ever, Jacob. Why couldn't you imprint on someone your own age and species? Like Sam Yulee mentioned is the whole point of imprinting. You're supposed to be propagating the pack, not falling for the fetus of the very type of creature that you and your people have been blood feuding with since forever. I feel like it would have been a very simple solution for Stephenie Meyer to write in Jacob's like little brother or a kind of little brother type person that he took under his wing after his parents are killed, and then like that kid falls for Renesmee and imprints and Jacob becomes like their fatherly protector. I'm just saying I didn't have to go crazy trying to think of a way to not make it an adult attracted to a child type of situation that the producers and Taylor Lautner described trying very hard to toe that line where he was like, I would have conversations with Stephenie Meyer about how I make it seem like I'm being her big brother protector at this stage of life and it might change over eternity, and Stephenie Meyer would just be like, just be here in the now, just like live in this moment. And he's like, okay, in this moment I don't think this baby is sexy. Acting. We've started a lot of these Twilight movies seeing Edward and Bella in a field of lilacs, and it's appropriate that we end there as well. Previously, Bella has shown Edward that she knows how to read classic literature, and this time she shows him that she can read the past. I don't know, she's like sharing her memories of their relationship together, and it sort of serves as like a video yearbook for the whole movie. Ugh. Ugh, not the self-aware CGI closing of the novel that this movie was based on. Ugh. To me, this is the movie franchise equivalent of when somebody shits their pants right before dying. Boo! This ending is pants-fittingly bad. This movie is like a dead body covered in shit to me. But hey, that's how we roll in the Twilight universe. What did you all think of this movie franchise? Do you agree that the worst one was this one? I thought, like, girl, we had a lot of loose ends to tie up in the lore that Stephenie Meyer had created out there in Forks, and she basically flubbed the landing, fumbled the ball, at the bed and ate the crow every step of the way. Congratulations, Stephenie Meyer. You became a multi-millionaire based on these terrible books that became terrible movies that children didn't really read into the quality too much about because they just wanted to see two guys fight over a pick-me girl. So let's say congrats to you. Congrats to you. I hope that you never write another one again. That was millennials. Kids in my high school, we loved those books. Not me, they. But I'm saying collectively we because here I am talking about it. I think Gen Z craves something a little more intelligent, a little more logical, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't read children's books anymore, so. But I do read adult books, such as Science for the Sky, a book about space. Don't look into that. Let me know what you think about Science in the Sky, as well as the Twilight series and Stephenie Meyer. Did she stick the landing here? Did she pass the cue ball along? Did she do the wave at the football game? Let me know in the comments below, but most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week. Also, click that like button if you want to see like Divergent, Hunger Games, let me know which. Also, I've got merch and a Patreon where you can access exclusive virtual watch parties, bonus episodes, and other cool benefits. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you for throwing your baby boy into the bonfire with me today. I will see you next time. I have left you for 1,000.